Why the divine call to marriage is supernaturally confirmed as the sacred choice, revealed. In the quaint village of Whistling Pines, where golden sunlight kissed cobbled streets, the air shimmered with whispers of prayer. Mary, a dedicated parishioner, spent her days kneeling at the altar of St. Joseph, her heart heavy with longing aching for a partner who would walk beside her in faith. It was nearly 30, and she felt the weight of expectation, not just from her family, but from God himself. What if her desire for marriage was simply her imagination? Was she losing touch with the divine path? One quiet afternoon, as candles flickered softly under the watchful eyes of saints, she sensed a presence. A warm glow enveloped her, and the familiar figure of Father Benedict approached, his gnarled hands raised in blessing. "Mary," he spoke reverently, his voice trembling. "God has a partner chosen specifically for you. Trust in his divine timing." Hope surged within her like a tidal wave, igniting her spirit with exuberance. But as the days turned into weeks, murmurs of doubt echoed in her ears. Family and friends, well-meaning yet skeptical, questioned the priestess' revelation. "Are you sure, Mary?" they would ask, their voices laced with concern. "It sounds too good to be true." In the midst of her struggle for clarity, her closest friend, Jane, fell gravely ill. The village was cloaked in despair. The prognosis was bleak, and whispers of hopelessness began to ripple through their tight-knit community. But Mary would not falter. She gathered the people who believed in the power of prayer, their hearts united in desperation, collectively invoking divine mercy. In the church, amid the flickering candlelight, she poured her heart into the heavens. "Lord, heal her," she cried, tears streaming down her face, her voice a chorus of fervent hope as days passed. Rumors seemed to vanish into thin air, replaced by a palpable sense of divine presence. Just when doubt threatened to overshadow her faith, her connection with Thomas, a kind-hearted man who often assisted Father Benedict, began to blossom. Joy stirred within her, but so did envy. A rival suitor emerged, throwing shadows over her newfound happiness, jealousy brewing like storm clouds over a sunlit day. Before she could catch her breath, a remarkable moment arrived. In the midst of a significant church ceremony, with hymns lifting to the rafters, an unusual sign occurred. A dove, white and radiant, soared through the stained glass windows, pausing majestically on the altar. Gasps erupted among the parishioners, eyes wide in awe. God had chosen this moment, a divine affirmation of Mary and Thomas's union, igniting whispers of wonder throughout the congregation. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Yet even as they basked in the glow of miraculous hope, doubt whispered within Mary's heart. Was God truly guiding her toward marriage with Thomas? Or was this just a fleeting moment? The village felt charged with anticipation, but Mary stood at a profound crossroads, wrestling with the realization that her journey of faith was only just beginning. What awaited her beyond the veil of uncertainty? Would the resolution she craved unfold, bringing her home to love and community? As the echoes of the divine filled her spirit, the questions pressed deeper. What divine truths lay waiting to be revealed? As the days turned into weeks, Mary found herself wandering the familiar paths of Whistling Pines, her heart a mixture of hope and unease. Each step echoed with the fear of uncertainty. The village was alive with the jubilant chatter of couples preparing for the upcoming harvest festival, their laughter floating through the air like a sweet melody. Yet, in the midst of the celebration, Mary's heart felt heavy, overshadowed by the weight of unanswered questions. One evening, beneath the tapestry of stars that stretched across the sky, she ventured to the church, seeking solace in the sacred stillness. The faint scent of incense hung in the air, enveloping her like a warm embrace. She knelt before the altar, the flickering candles casting a soft glow upon her tear-streaked face. "Lord, is this truly your will?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Show me the way, let me feel your guidance." In that quiet moment, a profound serenity enveloped her, wrapping around her like a divine cloak. It was then that she remembered the words of Father Benedict, echoing in her mind. Trust in his divine timing. The gentle reminder soothed the restless spirit within her. Could it be that the path ahead was meant to be walked slowly, each step guided by faith rather than speed? The following Sunday, the church was filled to the brim, the congregation buzzing with excitement as the harvest festival drew near. Mary sat beside Thomas, their fingers brushing occasionally, sending tremors of warmth through her heart. As the sermon unfolded, the pastor spoke of love as a divine gift, a precious bond meant to deepen faith and connection. Mary's heart raced. Was this sermon for her? Could God be weaving their lives together in a miraculous way? However, shadows of doubt still loomed. The rival suitor, Richard, had been persistent, sneaking glances at her from across the aisle. Mary could sense the simmering tension between the two men. Thomas seemed completely focused, unaware of the lurking threat. What if I am not worthy of this love? She pondered. What if Thomas sees something in me that I do not? After the service, as the congregation gathered for fellowship, Mary found herself cornered by Richard. "Mary," he said, his voice smooth and disarming. "You know I have loved you long before this dove appeared. Don't you?" Thomas might not be steadfast. "I treat you like a queen." Panic surged within her as Richard's words danced like poison in her mind. Would this be a test of her faith? Suddenly, Thomas approached, his warm gaze searching her face. "Is everything okay?" he asked, concern etched in his features. With him there, Mary felt the weight of Richard's words lift slightly. "Yes, just a little overwhelmed," she replied, forcing a smile. She looked into Thomas's eyes, and in that instant, she found assurance. There was something sacred in their connection, a spark that felt ordained, transcending the whispers of the world around them as the sun dipped below the horizon. Casting shadows over the village, Mary's heart began to settle. She realized that love was more than mere desire. It was a journey, a partnership built on trust and faith, requiring grace and bravery. That night, as she lay in bed, the faint rustle of leaves carried through her window. She whispered a quiet prayer, her spirit ready to embrace the unfolding mystery. What would God reveal next? Beneath the celestial blanket of stars, she felt a stirring within her, an anticipation that promised growth. But as dawn approached, shadows crept closer, and the question hung heavy in the stillness: what if divine love tested her more than she ever imagined? The days grew tense as the harvest festival approached, the air thick with unspoken words. Mary moved through the village, taking in the vibrant decorations, the laughter of children, and the aroma of baked goods wafting from open windows. Yet, despite the joy surrounding her, uncertainty gnawed at her spirit. It was as if the festival's colors were muted when seen through her troubled heart. One sunny day, she found herself perched on a wooden bench in the village square, watching as couples shared sweet moments. The laughter around her felt like a melody she couldn't join in on. Thomas and Richard's presence, though always supportive, cast shadows of doubt. Would she make the right choice? Was her heart attuned to the divine notes of love, or was she merely caught in a whirlwind of emotions? Later that afternoon, she wandered into the church, seeking the sanctuary of its walls. Sunlight poured through stained glass, creating patterns that danced upon the floor, each color a whisper from the divine. Mary breathed in deeply, allowing the warmth of the sun to fill her spirit. She could hear soft hymns echoing in the chapel, a reminder that her worries were not hers to carry alone. She knelt again at the altar, pouring out her heart. "Lord, if this is your will, grant me clarity. Show me the path you have laid out for me." As she prayed, she felt a gentle nudge in her spirit, almost like a breeze sweeping through her heart, urging her to release her fears. It was in that moment she understood something profound. Love was not merely a feeling. It was a choice to walk in faith, to trust in an unseen plan, and to believe in the goodness of God's intentions. Just then, the door creaked open, and in walked Thomas, his presence lighting up the small chapel. His eyes softened upon seeing Mary in prayer. He approached quietly, kneeling beside her. "I sometimes feel lost too, Mary," he whispered, his voice laced with vulnerability. "But I believe that God has placed us together for a reason. Can we trust that together?" Her heart fluttered, warmth enveloping her entire being. In that sacred space, with Thomas beside her, a fresh wave of hope washed over her. They spent moments in silence, their individual prayers blending into a sweet communion of faith. But then a thought crept into her mind, shrouded in confusion. "Is love always serene?" she pondered. "What if my doubts pull us apart?" Just as she voiced the concern silently within her heart, Father Benedict entered the chapel, a light in his eyes that mirrored her own prayer requests. "Sometimes, my child," the old priest began, sensing her turmoil, "faith must illuminate the shadows. When the storm rises, remind yourself that love is a covenant rooted in commitment and trust. It doesn't need certainty to grow. It needs faith." His words settled deep within her, resonating with a truth she longed to embrace. After their prayer, Thomas took Mary's hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. "Let us walk this journey together, step by step," he urged, his gaze unwavering. The energy around them felt charged, like a bolt of electricity promising something extraordinary. As they exited the chapel, the sun dipped effortlessly towards the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. Yet, as the sun bade farewell to the day, so too did her heart wrestle with a new wave of uncertainty. Could she truly commit? Would Richard's persistence become a challenge she could not face? As night fell and stars flickered like tiny lanterns overhead, Mary whispered another prayer, her heart full of questions. What would the divine require of her in this beautiful, yet complex dance of love? What lay ahead might test her in ways she could not fathom. Little did she know, the greatest revelations of faith were yet to unfold. The next day arrived with a gentle mist that hung low over the village, draping everything in a soft veil. Mary awoke with a feeling of anticipation fluttering in her chest, a feeling that whispered of possibilities. She slipped out of bed and crept toward the window, gazing at the dew-kissed flowers that nodded in the cool breeze. A sense of peace washed over her, enveloping her like a warm embrace. The harvest festival was nearing, yet it no longer felt like a source of dread. Instead, it offered a chance to confront her heart's desire. With each step, Mary felt the weight of her decision press against her mind. Today she would take action. She knew she had to speak with Richard, to clarify her feelings and avoid prolonging his hopes. It would be a difficult conversation, but she sensed that the truth deserved to be spoken, even if it threatened to shatter the comfortable surface of their friendship. She walked through the village. She saw familiar faces, neighbors smiling at her, children playing in the streets as joy radiated all around. But the laughter felt distant, like echoes of another world. The deepening resolve in Mary's heart steered her toward the riverbank where Richard often spent his afternoons, contemplating life and sketching the scenery. When she reached him, Richard was perched on a large rock, pencil in hand, lost in his artistic world. The moment he looked up and saw her, his expression transformed into one of pure delight, a smile that sliced through her uncertainty. She took a deep breath, the smell of earth and blossoming flowers grounding her thoughts. "Richard," she began, her voice barely a whisper. His smile faltered slightly as he noted her serious tone. "Is everything all right, Mary?" She hesitated, searching for the right words, the ones that would honor their shared history, yet speak the truth of her heart. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about what you want." He looked at her, confusion flickering across his face. "I want more than anything to be with you. You know that, don't you?" "Yes, and that's what makes this so hard," she replied, and in that moment, she felt the surge of love for him swell within her, mingled with her uncertainty. "But I have feelings, special feelings for Thomas." Richard's expression shifted, a mixture of hurt and understanding knitting his brows together. "I see." His voice was steady, but Mary could sense the tremor of disappointment beneath the calm surface. "I didn't realize I didn't want to hurt you," she said, her voice quaking. "You mean so much to me, and I cherish our friendship. But I must be honest about my heart." The silence that followed felt heavy. It was as if the world had paused to witness this intimate moment, to weigh the gravity of choices that lay before them. "Thank you for being honest," Richard finally said, his voice low but full of sincerity. "I care about you too much to hold you back. But it will take time for me to process this." She nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. It was a hard truth to face, yet the clarity she felt was liberating. She felt the gentle presence of the divine sweep across her heart, reassurance that goddess love was threaded through even this painful moment as they parted ways. Mary sensed a new chapter beginning, one filled with uncertainty but also with the promise of growth. The path ahead would not be smooth. Challenges awaited her like shadows in the evening light. Yet, with each step, her faith anchored her, guiding her deeper into the heart of what love truly meant. Back at the church, she found solace in the quiet sanctuary, ready to pour out her heart again. With hands clasped tightly in prayer, she felt the divine connection that transcended her earthly dilemmas. Was love a journey not just toward another person but also toward herself? As she nurtured this thought, a ray of sunlight broke through the clouds outside, illuminating the altar with a heavenly glow. "Lord, guide me," she breathed, feeling a flicker of anticipation. "Lead me to the love that mirrors your own." What awaited her in the days to come would reveal the deeper layers of faith, and the choices that were yet unmade were bound to hold greater significance than she could perceive. The air hummed with divine potential, hinting at a revelation waiting just around the corner. What pieces of the puzzle were yet to fall into place, and how would her journey unfold in this intricate dance of faith? The following day dawned bright and clear, casting a welcome warmth over the village. Mary felt the sun's rays seep into her soul, igniting a flicker of hope among the heartache. She sat quietly in her favorite nook by the church, a gentle breeze sprinkled with the scent of pine wafting through the open window. Though Richard's words lingered like a bittersweet melody in her heart, she was committed to exploring the intricacies of her emotions. Reflecting on her conversation with Richard felt daunting. Yet, as she prayed, she sensed the Holy Spirit gently nudging her heart toward clarity. What does love truly mean? She pondered, hoping for a glimpse of answers. She understood now that life was not simply about choosing between two paths, but embracing a journey toward becoming more attuned to the Father's love. Later that day, Mary decided to seek wisdom from Mrs. Dalloway, the village elder. Known for her grounded spirit and deep faith, Mrs. Dalloway's porch was an inviting space filled with the laughter of children playing nearby and the harmonious chirping of birds. "Dear child," Mrs. Dalloway greeted her warmly, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "What weighs upon your heart today?" Mary sat down, crossing her hands in her lap. "I'm caught between two people who mean so much to me. I feel drawn to Thomas, but I've prayed about it and struggled with the implications." The elder listened intently, nodding her head slowly. "In love, dear Mary, there's often a divine calling that guides us. It's essential to seek not just your desires but also what God intends for you. Love is meant to perfect us, to draw us closer to His truth. Do you think there's a way to know which path is God's will?" Mary asked, uncertainty creeping into her voice. "Look for His peace, my dear," Mrs. Dalloway advised, placing her hand over Mary's. "Sometimes God speaks in the silence of our hearts, granting us clarity when we need it most. A choice made in love and faith will always bring you closer to Him." Mary looked out at the vibrant flowers adorning the garden, their colors speaking of creation's beauty. She began to feel a sense of assurance blooming within her. "I seek a love that mirrors His, one that brings joy and deep connection," she expressed as the sun dipped lower in the sky. An idea took root in her heart. It wasn't simply about her feelings for Thomas or Richard. It was about understanding how each relationship connected with her faith and identity. That evening, Mary sat down with her journal, preparing to reflect on her heart's desires. Encouraged by Mrs. Dalloway's wisdom, she wrote, seeking clarity through the written word. The ink flowed easily, and with every stroke of the pen, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. "Lord," she wrote, "guide me in this journey of love. Show me your will. Let the choices I make honor the path you have laid before me." With each page she filled, peace enfolded her, wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. Perhaps the journey would reveal not just what she wanted, but who she was designed to be. She sensed a divine intention coming into her life, leading her beyond her limited understanding as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky. Mary couldn't shake the feeling that change was on the horizon. Would the answers she sought come wrapped in the form of love or challenge? The next morning, she awoke with a yearning in her heart, curious about the week of the harvest festival that awaited her. Would the festival be a true reflection of what her heart needed, or might it herald a turning point in her journey? As laughter and music began to fill the air, Mary remained poised, ready to follow the path that might unveil the sacred choice meant only for her. Would she find divine confirmation during the festivities, or perhaps a new call upon her heart would emerge, one that intertwined with the hopes and dreams of her soul? The festival week arrived, draping the village in bright colors and joyful sounds. Mary felt the energy pulsing in the air, like a gentle current of divine excitement. The harvest festival, a celebration of gratitude and community, had always marked an important time within her heart. This year felt different. Though she could sense God preparing a stage for something significant, she stepped into the vibrant grounds adorned with fragrant autumn flowers. Mary was enveloped by laughter and the cheerful cries of children running amidst the stalls. Her eyes danced across the scene. Faces lit by delight, families reunited, and vendors selling homemade goods with warmth and smiles. It was all beautiful. Yet, beneath that surface, a deeper yearning stirred inside her, like a quiet whisper beckoning her toward something more profound. "Mary, over here." The shout broke through her reverie as Thomas waved from a booth filled with pumpkins. His laughter was contagious. For a moment, every worry melted away. She joined him, sharing in the joy of the festival. His energy uplifted her, igniting hope and excitement about what lay ahead. "Can you believe how many people came out this year?" he asked, eyes bright with enthusiasm. "It's wonderful," she replied, trying to gauge the heartbeat of their connection. "The atmosphere feels so alive." Yet, as she watched him engage with the crowd, a small part of her heart drifted toward Richard. Memories of their conversations echoed intimate moments of vulnerability and understanding that spoke to the depths of her soul. Conflicted, Mary moved through the festival, seeking that elusive peace Mrs. Dalloway had spoken of. She wandered to the chapel, where flickering candles cast soft light over holy images. Kneeling in silence, she poured out her heart, asking for guidance. "Lord, I feel so torn," she whispered, tears forming as she pressed her palms together. "Is there a thread of your will in this confusion? Show me the way forward." In that hushed place, the world fell away and the weight of her burdens seemed to lift. Suddenly, she felt an unmistakable warmth wash over her, a gentle reassurance that whispered, "Trust me." Mary returned to the festival, her heart lighter. She spotted Richard in the distance, speaking with a group of villagers. There was something profoundly magnetic about his spirit. She approached, curious yet cautious, unsure of what the moment might hold. "Mary," he greeted with that familiar sparkle in his eye. "I'm glad to see you here. Have you been enjoying the festival?" "It's beautiful," she replied, noticing how warmly he engaged with those around him. "I've been thinking a lot about, well, everything." Richard looked at her, his expression earnest. "I am grateful for your friendship, Mary," he said softly. "You inspire me in ways I can't even describe." In that moment, surrounded by laughter and laughter, a stirring within Mary grappled with understanding. Could friendship blossom into something deeper? Or was this the very essence of love she sought, the reflection of God's heart in every bond created? As evening descended, lanterns lit up, casting soft shadows over gathering crowds. Music began to fill the air, and the villagers danced, celebrating life's joy together. Mary took a deep breath. With each note and sway, she felt the silent call of her heart echoing, urging her to clarify her feelings. It was as if love itself was dancing before her, inviting her to engage, to commit, and to discern. She closed her eyes, asking God again for clarity. Lead me, Lord, in this intricate journey. Show me the love that brings me closer to you. In that sacred moment, as she opened her eyes, she spotted a figure approaching a message in the movements of the festival. It was not just Thomas or Richard nor merely celebration, but a profound whisper that stirred in the depths of her spirit. What awaited her? Was it the divine confirmation she longed for, or perhaps a new revelation that would reshape her heart once more? As flames danced in the lanterns overhead, Mary felt a pivotal moment looming. Nearer, the kind that would clarify her sacred choice. What destiny lay hidden within the love that awaited her? As the flickering lanterns illuminated Mary's face, a quiet sense of expectancy settled within her. The air was charged with possibility, and every joyous laugh around her seemed to echo her own inner turmoil. She locked her gaze on Richard, his joyful spirit radiating as he moved among the villagers. It was clear that he was admired, that his heart beat in tune with the pulse of the community. Yet, a deeper pulse thrummed beneath the surface of her own heart, a beckoning toward something more personal in that enchanted twilight. As music floated through the air like a gentle breeze, Mary felt an awakening, a stirring that called her to step forward into whatever God had planned. Was this attraction to Richard merely a fleeting fancy, or the first flicker of a love God intended? She longed for certainty and, as she took a breath filled with the scent of autumn, she prayed once more. "Show me the path, Lord," she murmured, her voice nearly lost among the notes of laughter and song. "Let me see your purpose." A group of children nearby laughed as they danced in circles, their innocence and joy reminding her of faith without hesitation. What if, she pondered, the love I crave reflects that same kind of trust? Emerging from the depths of her thoughts, she felt the pull to approach Richard. As she took a few cautious steps, the music transformed into a soft, welcoming melody, urging her on. With each stride, she reminded herself of her earlier prayer, feeling the gentle push of the Holy Spirit guiding her forward. Richard turned just as she approached, a smile lighting up his face. "Mary, I was hoping you'd come over. Come dance with us." He offered his hand, and despite the fluttering within her chest, she took it. As they began to sway to the rhythm, she felt a connection, a warm peace wrapped around them like a sacred blanket. Around them, villagers twirled and laughed. Yet in that moment, it felt as though they were in their own world. Mary gazed into Richard's eyes, searching not just for a glimpse of his spirit, but for divine affirmation. "What do you see?" she whispered above the music, a question that hovered in their shared space. "I see a light," he said softly, his voice earnest and filled with conviction. "You carry a brightness that draws people to you, but it's your heart that shines the brightest." Mary's heart skipped a beat. Could it be possible that he too felt this sacred connection? Was there a divine purpose weaving their lives together at that very moment? Lost in the dance, she felt a rush of warmth enveloping her, not just from Richard, but from something deeper, a current of heavenly love that stirred beneath the surface of everyday life. But as the music swelled, a new thought gripped her heart. "Is this how you confirm love, Lord?" she questioned silently. "In connection, in trust, in shared laughter? Or is there a greater calling?" Richard's laughter rang out, and the sight of him so vibrant and full of life suddenly made her full of doubt. A revelation began to unfurl inside her heart, a whisper that called for quiet contemplation amid the joy of the moment. What if divine love was not just rooted in shared feelings, but also demanded movements of faith? What if her attraction to Richard was both a blessing and a fictional web she created in her own mind? The festival danced on around them, yet within Mary, a storm brewed, a desire for clarity and truth over mere affection. The night thickened, and she found herself yearning for deeper understanding, for that divine revelation that would define her choice. And in that yearning, an undeniable truth emerged. Every connection, every fleeting moment of joy, was an invitation to something sacred. Was she ready to step into the unknown, to chase after that sacred call in her heart? As the firelight flickered and the music played, She sensed the approaching dawn of her decision. But would she have the clarity to choose wisely? As she and Richard spun once more, ignited by hope, she felt an eternity unfolding before her. A divinely orchestrated dance of possibility. What awaited her was a journey deeper than mere affection, a commitment that could illuminate the path toward love itself. The world around them blurred as her heart pondered the weight of decisions yet to come. Would she seize the moment as divine intention crafted her destiny? And with every heartbeat, she wondered if God spoke to her through this festival of life. What heart-rending choice lay ahead? The joyous night unfurled like a tapestry woven with laughter and light. Yet amidst the celebration, Mary's heart wrestled with uncertainty. She pulled away slightly from Richard, still holding his hand, but lost in her thoughts. The other villagers spun around them, laughter bubbling up like a fountain. Yet a stillness within her urged her to ponder her next step. "Am I ready for this, Lord?" she whispered to the heavens, straining to hear a response beneath the music. The lanterns bobbed above her, like stars that had found their way to earth, illuminating the souls dancing in delight. What was she truly seeking? Mary's eyes swept the crowd, landing on couples swaying together, their faces alight with love. They seemed to share secrets and glances, woven in shared dreams. She imagined Richard's expression would soon mirror theirs, filled not just with admiration, but with a depth that spoke of divine purpose, a union built not only on affection but on faith. But was she strong enough to open her heart so wide? What if, deep down, this was a longing for companionship, not a calling to covenant? In trying to discern God's will, did she risk losing this fleeting joy that now blossomed around her? Richard squeezed her hand gently, grounding her in the moment. "Let us step outside for a breath of fresh air," he suggested, his eyes sparkling with unspoken excitement. Mary nodded, grateful for an escape from the swirling confusion within her. Once outside, they strolled under the vast, twinkling sky. The night air carried the scent of wood smoke and wildflowers. Each step felt deliberate, echoing the rhythm of a growing bond. Still, she was troubled by the question that pressed against her heart. What direction was God guiding her toward in this beautiful yet challenging moment? "Tell me, Mary," Richard began, breaking the silence, "what do you see in the stars?" Her gaze followed his towards the heavens, full of radiant points of light. "I see possibilities, a map of dreams yet to unfold." Her voice was softer now, her heart cracking open just a little more. "But I also feel a kind of weight in the choices we make." "I believe God lights our way," Richard replied thoughtfully. "We can navigate our hearts toward Him together, sharing what is unseen." His words felt like a balm to her confusion. Could it be true? Could love not only awaken her soul but forge a shared destiny ahead? With faith merged in trust, could they face whatever the future held? The question lingered, unresolved yet charged with potential. Just then, a group of enthusiastic villagers emerged from the festival's heart, carrying mugs of spiced cider. "Join us," they called, inviting Richard and Mary back into the whirl of celebration. As they stepped back into the vibrant throng of people, symbolizing the larger community of faith, a sense of clarity washed over her. Every laugh, every smile, resonated with a sacred joy that belonged to the divine. Yet, beneath it all, the flutter in her heart remained. She turned to Richard amidst the revelry and felt an unquenchable urge to voice her deepest desire. "What if, Richard, our connection is a divine setup, revealing a journey only God understands?" His gaze, piercing and sincere, locked onto hers. "Then we must be bold, Mary. If God is drawing us together, we cannot hold back from discovering that purpose." The tension within Mary now teetered on the edge of revelation. They both understood that this conversation was just the beginning, a spark in a much larger divine narrative. As they shared the cider and laughter thrummed once again through the air, Mary's heart whispered softly, was she ready to say yes to faith, to commitment? As the festival swirled joyfully around them, she could not shake the sense of divine invitation. What awaited her could shake the very foundations of her heart. What role does faith play in our decision to love? Mary questioned internally, inviting the divine into her contemplation. And as the night deepened, illuminated by the magic of possibility, she sensed a profound moment was drawing near a divine moment brimming with answers waiting to unfold. Would she have the courage to embrace it? The laughter of the festival faded into the background as Mary and Richard stood at the edge of the gathering, the air thick with anticipation. Mary's heart raced, feeling the weight of the moment pressing in. The stars above sparkled like testimony to uncountable blessings, each glimmer a reminder of possibilities created by faith. "I wonder," Richard said, his voice gentle yet insistent, "what it would look like for us to really walk this path together." His eyes searched hers for an answer, a shared understanding that tethered them both to the moment. "I want that too," Mary replied, her breath catching in her throat. "But how do we know? How do we know if this is your heart and my heart aligning with God's plan?" She glared at the vast sky, seeking clarity in the constellations that twinkled above. "What if we feel this way now?" But her voice trailed off, uncertainty creeping back. "Don't you think that's part of the journey?" Richard took a step closer, the warmth between them sparking with a kind of holy energy. "It's okay not to have all the answers right now. We're not supposed to have it all figured out. We just need to take one step at a time." Mary wanted to believe him, yet her pulse thrummed with doubt, the push and pull of faith and fear warring within her. Richard lifted their clasped hands, as if offering them up to the divine. "Let us take a moment. Let us pray." With her heart pounding, Mary closed her eyes and joined him in prayer. "Lord, lead us. Show us your will." The words were simple yet carried the weight of her longing. As they prayed, a hush settled around them. The laughter of the villagers faded, replaced by a sacred silence she hadn't known she craved. In that moment, Mary felt a warmth envelop her, a sense of being cradled by something greater. She opened her eyes to find Richard watching her with a knowing expression. "Did you feel that?" he asked, his voice low. It was different," Mary confessed, awash in waves of understanding and comfort. The uncertainty that had fraught her spirit now seemed to ease, even as questions loomed large. "What if this is our answered prayer?" Richard posed softly, his eyes glinting with hope. "What if God is showing us that our connection is meant to be explored together?" Mary's heart quickened at the thought. A mixture of excitement and fear coursed through her, igniting a fire within. "If it is, then I have to be strong enough to follow where he leads." They stood together, the weight of their shared faith binding them like a tapestry woven with trust and hope. Mary felt as if she were standing on the edge of a great chasm, with her future waiting just beyond the leap. The festival resumed its celebration around them. Joyous melodies danced through the air as villagers filled the space with laughter, a stark contrast to the stillness they had shared moments before. "Let us go back," Richard suggested, and the unspoken affection in his voice filled Mary with resolve. She took a deep breath, embracing a wholeness she hadn't realized she was missing. As they rejoined the festivities, she felt the pulse of the community surround them. Richard slipped his hand around her waist, drawing her into the dance, swirling with the vibrant energy of the night. Laughter poured out like a river, washing away the remnants of her uncertainty. Yet, amid the joy, the questions lingered so close, yet just out of reach. How would they navigate the journey ahead? In that blend of laughter and light, a new thought broke through her heart. What if their connection wasn't just a beautiful beginning, but a calling, a divine setup? As couples twirled around them, Mary quietly resolved that she wouldn't walk this path solo. She would bring her doubts, her fears, her hopes before God, trusting that his hand would guide them. "Richard," she began, her voice lost momentarily amidst the jubilant noise. "What if we're meant to explore God's will together, to seek out our faith as a couple?" Richard's expression lit up with understanding. "Then let us be bold, Mary. Let us turn this question into our shared adventure." The realization settled deep within her. This was about both of them stepping into God's will, risking it all to see what lay ahead. She glanced at Richard, a smile breaking through her earlier hesitation. Yet, as her heart soared, a different voice whispered in her soul, Are you truly ready to embrace what this means? To walk this path of faith and commitment? With the rhythm of the festival pulsing around them, Mary embraced the challenge ahead. But the mystery of their journey still loomed large. What extraordinary adventures awaited as they sought to intertwine their love with divine purpose. The final day of the harvest festival dawned, a crispness in the air that spoke of renewal and a turning point. Mary awoke with an invigorated heart, filled with anticipation and a flicker of trepidation. Today was not just another festival. Today was the day she would commit to faith in a new way, both in her relationship with Richard and her own journey toward surrendering to God's will. With purpose, Mary dressed in a flowing dress that danced with colors of autumn, bold oranges and deep reds, a mark of the choice she was about to embrace. Each brushstroke of fabric against her skin felt like a gentle reminder of the vibrant life waiting for her on the other side of uncertainty. As she journeyed towards the church, the laughter of children and the comforting scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the streets, a palpable reminder that love and joy were abundant when the heart was open to both. Upon arriving, she found Richard waiting outside, his earnest eyes meeting hers with unbridled wonder. "You look beautiful," he said, a simple yet profound compliment that sent warmth spilling through her. For the first time, she felt the power of their connection. This wasn't merely fleeting affection, but a divine partnership poised to grow. "Thank you," Mary replied, her voice shaky yet assured. "I want to talk about us. Today feels different." Richard nodded, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "I feel it too." They stepped into the church, where the scent of incense lingered like a soft embrace. The vibrant stained glass painted the interior with hues of heaven, casting a warm glow over everything. Kneeling before the altar, a surge of emotion filled Mary's heart. "Lord," she whispered, "I'm ready. I need your guidance now more than ever." Richard knelt beside her, and together they prayed, their voices blending into a sacred rhythm that echoed in the stillness. "Help us to discern your will," Richard added, his words laced with sincerity as they prayed. A serene clarity began to seep into Mary's soul, washing over doubts like a tide retreating from the shore. She felt not only her heart but her spirit opening up. The love that awaited her was rooted not in fear, but in faith. God's divine call to commitment rang true within her, unearthing an understanding that love was both a journey and a choice, a sacred act of trust. When they rose, Mary turned to Richard, whose face radiated hope. "Richard, I want to explore this connection with you in faith. I want us to seek God together." His eyes sparkled with joy. "Yes, let us walk this journey. I believe this is part of His will. Our love can be a reflection of His light." As they walked back into the vibrant festivities outside, the laughter and joy of celebration welcomed them. Families danced and shared stories. Children tumbled in the grass, so full of life and promise. The collective spirit of love reverberated through the village, filling the air with an electric energy palpable with possibility. Together, Mary and Richard joined the crowd, laughter escaping their lips as they moved. Each moment felt as if the very essence of life was unfolding around them. "Will you take my hand in this adventure?" Richard asked, his gaze intense, a proposal rooted in both love and faith. "Yes, I will," Mary affirmed. Feeling the pulse of God's presence guiding her deeper into this sacred journey, they sparked together as they joined the other villagers for the final dance of the festival. The music spoke not just of joy but of commitment, their hearts intertwined in a divine tapestry crafted by faith. She felt the warmth of community, the blessings of divine love flowing through her veins. Suddenly, a dove flew overhead, echoing the earlier signs from the festival's beginning. Murmurs of awe flowed through the crowd, a gentle reminder that God was watching, His providential hand active in their lives. Tears of gratitude filled Mary's eyes as she turned to Richard, their fingers clasped tightly. In that moment, every fear, every doubt melted away, leaving only the purity of love that transcended the ordinary. They were no longer just two separate souls navigating the uncertainties of life, but united in a sacred mission to walk in faith. The village raised their voices in song, a collective chorus of hope echoing through the air. This was it. This was the divine affirmation that marriage was indeed a sacred choice, a blessing intertwined with faith. As the festival ended, She understood the truth of her journey. Every decision, every longing, was not merely for herself, but to serve God and reflect His love in the lives of others. With heads held high, Mary and Richard stepped into the twilight, ready to embrace whatever God had in store. Their hearts harmonized with purpose, echoing the divine call that led them home. Now, as we conclude this incredible journey of divine love and commitment, I urge you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that inspire the soul. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share this wonderful revelation with others. Comment with your reactions and testimonies about the ending. We want to hear your story. And remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of God's love. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.